Well, good morning. This is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred. I'm really glad you could join me today out here in the vegetable garden. Well, today I wanted to share some tips and ideas with you on how you can grow King Arthur green bell peppers in your garden containers. So thanks for joining me today. So follow me along and I'm going to show you where I'm going to be planting these green bell peppers in the containers. So come along. So we're going to head up to the garden structure there on our right. So right along here is where I've been growing different vegetables in garden containers. And we're going to grow our green bell pepper plant in this container right here. So planting in garden containers is something really easy to do. You can plant in most garden containers anything you plant in your garden, you know. And you know, this variety here is the King Arthur sweet bell pepper, and it matures in 60 to 75 days. Fruit size is 4.5 by 4.5. It's a very large, blocky, and the pepper matures from green to red, and it's disease resistance. And so, you know, peppers like a nice, fertile, loose soil, like most of your plants. And, you know, if you're going to be growing in containers, you know, you can just get some potting soil that's recommended for containers. And then, you know, some of it even comes with fertilizer in it for at least 3 months. And these pots that I'm using here were from my 55-gallon drum that I cut up. You know, I did a video on how to make indestructible gardening containers out of 55-gallon drums, and so that's a great video. And so these containers, you know, I took one drum and cut them into 3 or 4 pieces, and those barrels cost me $5 a piece. So these containers were really reasonable price. And so, you know, once you fill your container with your potting soil, you know, you're simply going to just take your plant and put it in the container. It's that simple. And of course, with containers, you know, being they're raised up above the soil, they dry out quicker. So, you know, you may want to water these at least once a day, you know, sometimes twice, depending on how hot it is, you know. But especially when these plants are young, you really want to keep an eye on the watering of them. But I bought these from Ray's, these Transplants, and they were $1.60 for 6 of them. So, you know, this year I'm doing a series on garden containers, and you know, how you can grow food in your containers. You know, if you don't have a yard, or, you know, if you have a deck or balcony, you know, as long as you have like 6 to 8 hours of sun, you know, you can grow your peppers and tomatoes. Greens don't require near as much sun. They can be grown in partial shade. You know, greens like your kale and your Swiss chard. And so I'm simply going to just pull one of these out of the cell pack, and, you know, it's always good to inspect the root system even before you buy them. Make sure they're not root bound. And then just, you know, make sure I work through this pot with my garden fork to make sure the soil was nice and loose. And so you're simply just going to take your plant and plant it to about the depth that it was in the cell pack. And then just take your 4 fingers and push the soil in nice and firm around the plant. And then, you know, you're just going to take your watering can and simply water it in. And so I have here to the right of me some zucchini, and then I also have a tomato plant in Mountain Spring that I planted. Again, just showing people that you can easily grow your food in containers, and it's a nice way, especially for beginners. But even with me here, I've been gardening for over 25 years now. You know, containers are great for expanding your garden needs. And so it's been fun this year experimenting with these gardening containers. And so anyhow, if you have any questions or comments about this video, feel free to leave them in the section below. And I just want to thank you for joining me today out here in the vegetable garden. It's a beautiful day here in Pennsylvania, and the sun's shining really nice. And so I just want to thank you for joining me today. So until next time, this is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred.